So when it comes to neurodivergence, ADHD, all of the umbrella of neurodivergent diagnoses that are out there, which is why I like the term neurospicy, because I identify as a myriad of neurodivergence. So I don't like to leave
Mhm.
anybody out or focus too much on anything. What, in terms of like supplementation, would you say is a good base for a neurodivergent woman entrepreneur who struggles with, mood and unpredictable energy levels cycling, and really to help prevent that chronic burnout cycle that you and I are both hoping everybody can get out of?
Yeah, for sure. So, I mean, I do have to just make a little disclaimer that this is not medical advice, for the sake of my college not being upset with me. But in terms of supplements, there's certainly an individual aspect to it, but there's some things that I would say generally most people who are neurodivergent, it's worth looking into. I often start with like some of the basic things. So like iron, for example, if you haven't had your blood iron levels checked, and if your iron levels are low, even in someone that doesn't have ADHD, we see ADHD-like symptoms with iron deficiency. We see increased rates of anxiety and depression with iron deficiency.
Yeah.
So something like that is such like a quick fix per se, of just like getting it checked and then making sure if it's low, we're supplementing to get you to a good spot with that. So like looking for deficiencies is one of the starting points typically. And then outside of that, when I'm talking other supplements, some of my favorites would be like saffron. Big fan of saffron for ADHD, depression, anxiety. We have great data for all of them. The ADHD supplement research, I would say we've just scratched the surface. Like there's certainly
Yeah.
a long, long way to go. But so far anyway, that is one of my favorites, that helps with some of the like executive function attention pieces with ADHD, but also the mood aspects and some of the emotional piece. So that's one of my go-tos. Phosphatidylserine is another one that I quite like. That one's a bit of a mouthful. Basically, it's a phospholipid that helps to buffer our cortisol levels. So we can't always control the stressors themselves, but it is giving us a little bit more control over our body's reaction to it. So we're
Yeah.
getting less of that cortisol release happening. I quite like that one. Like we do have data again for attention, focus, etc. But for the neurodivergent folk who have difficulties maybe turning their brain off before bed, that like kind of tired but wired picture where your
Yeah.
body's exhausted but your brain just won't shut up thinking about everything else you got going on. That's often cortisol at play there. So something like phosphatidylserine can be a great fit to help bring that down. Yeah, there's others that I certainly work with too, but I would say those are kind of like the big three, that I'm looking at first would be like the iron, the saffron, and the phosphatidylserine.
What are your thoughts on rhodiola rosea?
Yeah, I quite like it too. Especially for I've been on and off it myself for burnout. I use it in a lot of burnout patients to it's a nice way to provide some energy since it is a bit more of like a stimulating adaptogen, without just kind of stepping on the gas with more caffeine, more stimulants, etc.
Yeah.
It's like a gentler way to provide that mood support and energy that can be again quite nice for those experiencing burnout, or even not even full burnout, but even if it is kind of teetering in that realm, can still be a great option.